that could tell us more. I thought, no, that is interesting. So we had a search and found out this thing is nobody knows the author or the maker of it. We found out some really interesting information about what these Latin inscriptions doth say about said map. So we're going to take a look at that because I think it's very persuasive evidence for the place where we live. Okay, which is not spinny bally weirdness, which I'm not going to go into because it's really too childish and silly and too grown up to believe in cartoons. Plus, my senses and my intuition and my common sense show me the sun and the moon doing their thing and passing over this flat plane every single day. Except when it's cloudy. Anyway, let's get stuck in the juice. Make sure to share this out, guys. Please, please, pretty please, and get a nice big crowd over to enjoy the fun, okay, and the juiceage and more. So, Foolscap map. If you're not aware of the Foolscap map, it is a Brian blow, and you get a tidy little Artirius map inside with a northern continent, I guess, and this big, massive subcontinenty thing, which comes all the way up to the Tropic of Capricorn, which is really weird. So it would be boiling hot, and all of these Latin inscriptions, maybe a clue with the whole jester theme itself. Remember, in the king's court, the jester was the most intelligent person in the court. There's also two opposing Tauruses, donkeys, the bells. And what's on this little scepter thing here exactly? So we'll find out all about that. There have somebody out there that has actually done the deciphering for us. So we're going to take a little look at that. And look at the Phoenician coding, the lock-in mechanism. I really have felt since the very beginning with this lock-in mechanism, there was something to do with the device or the mechanism of this place where we live. Like if, you know, the stage comes to an end, stage show, and then there's this big mechanical movement, and then on with the next reset, etc. Obviously, everything gets devastated in the meantime, because that's the nature of reset, as you've seen from the evidence, which I will show you more of later, in the form of mud flood evidence of the Holy Land. So we found that it was more discs of information, and there's a slightly different version of the Foolscap map that is being posted on Google. And use that locking mechanism. And it gives you like Democritus and Hipparchus and these different sources of the antique world, which is always the same. So Flat Earth and the Foolscap map of the world. Let's find out some clues all about it, shall we? Now, so we had a little dig in. We found out a wood. Basically, these were just woodcuts, which is fascinating. And they're woodcuts from apparently 1400s. They don't know the author of said Foolscap map. So let's have a little gander at this amazing thing. And let's find out some information all about it. So I'll just bring up a slide. So when we talk about it, basically, we can check it out on this little slide here. If I can just bring it up a little bit for you. Maybe that'll be okay. So there it is. And the Fool's Head World Map, based on an Artirius third Typus Orbis Terranium, which sort of spells out like, I guess, terranium sort of idea, which suggests a publication date after 1587, published by an unknown maker. Okay, that's interesting in itself. And it shows the fool's or jester's cap with the world map where its face should be. In this conceit, is based on an earlier woodcut map by Jean Gaumont, which we've looked into, and he gives us some very good clues. Now, the text is in Latin and the panels on the left. So we've seen that when I just showed you with Democritus, so you see how this goes. So Democritus and Heraclitus and Epicathonis. Okay, so what did they Latin translations say. Okay, Democritus of Abadera laughed at it, the world, because it's some sort of joke, like a joker. So Heraclitus, oh, look at that word. Heraclitus of Euphrasis wept over it, excuse me. And Epponectus and Cosmopolites portrayed it above cap, so above here. It says, know thyself, from the Greek dictum of the Gnostics, reputedly inscribed in the temple of Apollo at Delphi. So there's your Phoenician connection there. Also on the cap's brow, right there, it has the Latin inscription. It says, O head worthy of a dose of hellebore, which is a poisonous plant, which is actually a psychedelic plant. On the cap's ears, okay, here, the donkey ears, we got there and we got there. Who does not have donkey's ears? A phrase inscribed by Lucius Cornetus, the Roman Stoic philosopher of the 1st century AD, blah, blah, blah. The Latin quote immediately above the map. So that would be in there, just inside the visor thing, which looks like a motorbike visor or something. Or even, is this like glass or like, you know, reflective mirror? And that's what he's looking at. It's really weird. Anyway, so the Latin quote immediately above the map is from Pliny the Elder, from natural history. Okay. And it states, this world, and this is substance of our glory, this is its seat. Here is that we fill positions of power and covet wealth, and throw mankind into uproar, and launch wars, even civil wars. That's interesting, isn't it? Below the map is the reason for this, taken by Ecclesiastes. The number of fools is infinite. Yeah, you want to see it in 2021. Another quote, excuse me, sorry to make the map disappear. Another quote is shown and engraved on the cup there, on top of the jester's staff on the right. Vanitas, okay, vanity of vanities, all is vanity. The badges on the decorative belt across the figure's shoulder on the left, these badges here, okay, what do they read? Oh, the worries of the world. Oh, how much triviality is there in the world, which is the opening of the satires of Ululus and the satires, or I guess Roman satires. All men are without sense. That includes in women as well, on that plaque there. And the next one, all things are vanity, by every man living. There is an elusive reference to the map in Robert Burton's Anatomy of Melancholy from 1621, which is a further reference. So it's telling us that this is a stage show. It's telling us that they're constructing wars, they're constructing uproar and civil wars against one another. This is all, as far as I can see, Phoenician. And they're telling you all in the map, in your face, the truth of it all. This stage show, this movie. So we dug into woodcuts. This is another one further than the really interesting mind blower, this one actually, from this same author that I just mentioned. And if I can just get that a bit bigger. There. So fascinating. Okay, gives you this map, which doesn't tell us too much except Island California, and there's a lot missing here. So it could be that this is still underwater. But what you find is these. Now, everything seems to be connected by these ribbons. Okay, geography is ether. Right. So look what they say on these things. And it's a framework. It is a framework. Universal, which is where countryed the superficialities of the globe of Earth. Discovered of which The diffusion is in the, wherever that is, isles, continents, new, old, arms of the sea. The limits are connected to rivers, mountains, accessibility, which some are. What's that mean? Accessible, of which some are. Accessible and very dangerous as. And more commodious as. Ports. I don't need me portal there. And this one, less commerce to havens and whatever gulfs is. Gulfs, right, okay. Principles, rocks, and high mountains. So I'm guessing they could be very dangerous. So off of continents, old, northern, West Indies, southern or megalachmic, eastern as Asia, western, minor, major, northern as Europe, southern as Africa. So this is the dissection of the world, is what this is. So related to special, flowing, just like the water, little as, fountainless rivets or rivers, the manner to know the latitude of by the elevation, longitude by the motion of the stars, and astrolabe, good. Madeira of the sun and of the pole, so that's interesting. The next one is topography, underwater, great as, flood, torrents, which is connected to, it's a very big watery theme to this, but everything is water, so that makes sense. Standing, sweet and fresh, naturally in low places, artificially as, so that's cisterns, wells and pools, and the land or Mediterraneans, that's interesting, external or ocean. What does that mean? So it's not the ocean. What do they mean external? Salt as the sea, the land or Mediterranean, external or ocean. Food for thought on that one. So what does it say on the outside of this thing anyway? So it's got some details there. I6784, the plaque. So we got inches of barley corn. The earth is divided into realms. So this is where, look at this, they even got the hidden hand here. So they divided their all realms into provinces with kingdoms. And I really think the word king is something to do with the sound of a bell. King dome, because the vibration and sound. I'll have a word with you about that now. Provinces into regions, again with 3 crowns. Regions into countries, countries into territories, territories into lands, lands into acres, acres into, excuse me, that's upside down, roods, or roods into paces, paces into feet, feet into inches, inches into barleys of corn. The earth is divided in realms. Now remember, Tartaria was self-governing duchies, and there was many, many, many towns and places, and then they just concentrated all into these new fangled cities that all turned up around the same time, which they dug out of the mud from a previous civilization, which I'll show you pictures of later. So that's a fantastic map, that is. It's a framework for bullshittery into realms. Okay.